Hi. Today, we will dive into some very important and interesting topics that will help us better understand how programs work in Dart, the language used in Flutter. We'll discuss anonymous functions, closures, and how functions can be objects. Let's start with the fact that the functions in Dart are objects, which means we can store them in variables, pass them as arguments to other functions, or even return them from functions. First, let's look at how to store them as variables. Declare a variable using var and give it any name. Then, as the value, we'll start writing our anonymous function. This is done just like with a regular function, but we don't specify its name or the return type. Note that multiply is the name of the variable holding the function, not the function itself. We need to list the parameters just as we did before. Inside the curly braces, write the body of the function. In this case, our anonymous function will have two parameters of type int and will return the result of their multiplication. As a result, we've created a variable that holds a function. We can easily use this function by referring to our variable and passing the parameters. Let's try printing the result of this function to the console. As we can see, our function works. By the way, as we covered in one of the previous lessons, we can shorten our function to such an expression using the equal sign symbol. As we remember, this symbol replaces return. What type do you think our variable that holds the function is? The type of our variable is function. Therefore, we can replace var with function without encountering any errors. However, function is a generic type for all functions. In reality, when specifying the type, we can indicate the return type of the function and list the types of parameters it accepts. All of this notation is considered one type, specifically a function that returns int and accepts two int parameters. Now, let's look at a function that returns another function. Yes, it sounds very confusing, but in practice it's quite simple. Our function will return another function that will raise a number to a certain power. Since the function we get will return the result of exponentiation, which is int, we start with int. Next, we use the type function. Also, the function we'll get will accept one parameter, which is a numeric value specifying the exponent. After specifying the return type of the function, we give it a name. In its parameters, it will take the exponent value. Let's now write the body of the function. Since we plan to return another function, we use the return keyword. Next, we start writing our anonymous function. As we remember, it takes an int parameter, so we include it. Then we move to the body. Inside the body, we need to use the parameter of the anonymous function and raise it to the power equal to the parameter of the main function. I suggest you complete the practical task and implement the anonymous function. Pause the video and try to complete the task. Solution. To complete this task, we first need to create a variable to keep track of the exponent, initialize it, and set its value to 1. Next, we need to create a for loop, where we initialize a variable I to 0. In the loop condition, we specify that I must be less than our exponent variable. Don't forget about the increment. In the loop body, we multiply our tracking variable by the parameter from the anonymous function. As a result, we have a loop that raises the number from the anonymous function's parameters to the power from the main function's parameters. At the end, don't forget to return the value. Let's test our function. Create a variable to store the function returned by our main function. The type of this variable will be the same as what our function returns. A function that takes an int and returns an int. Give the variable a name. As its value, call our main function and pass 2 as a parameter. This means we'll get a function that raises a number to the power of 2. Now, try printing the result to the console. Call the function stored in our variable and pass, for example, 3 to it. Run the program, and we see that everything works, and our number is squared. Let's try again, but this time, let's get a function that raises a number to the power of 3. Test it with print. Pass 2 as a parameter. Running the program, we see that the code works again, and our number is cubed. It might seem complex, but we covered this syntax so you understand how it works in theory. In practice, such tasks where a function returns another function are quite rare. If you found the lesson interesting and clear, don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss new lessons. And if you have any questions, be sure to leave them in the comments. I'll be happy to help. Thanks for watching. I hope you found it interesting. See you in the next lesson.